¿Qué pasó con tu estrella? Ay, ¿qué es esto? Por Dios santo.
Muévete, estás en mi vía.
¿Por qué estamos abajo?
Hello.
Muévete.
In this lecture, we are going to learn about object-oriented concepts. Many of the pictures I used in this presentation are taken from the classic book by Grady Booch, Concepts of Object-Oriented Programming. Let us begin with the problems faced with procedural languages. What are procedural languages? Languages like Fortran, COBOL, C, etc. are known as procedural languages. The main problem with these languages is that data does not have an owner. This leads to a problem of difficulty in maintaining the data integrity. Why is it so? The main building blocks of a procedural language are functions. Whether it's a Fortran program or a C program, functions are the building blocks of the program. Now, many functions can modify a given block of data. So, when the data gets corrupted or something goes wrong with the data, it becomes very difficult to pinpoint which function has misbehaved to create the bug. Here's a picture. We have here function 1, function 3 and function 2 all are using a shared data. The other problem with procedural languages is the very common bug of uninitialized variables. One of my favorite programs which I ask my students is this program: declare an int k and print the value. It usually prints some unknown garbage value, and this is a problem of uninitialized variables. Another big problem with procedural languages is the resource deallocation problems. What are resources? Resources can be anything starting from memory to files to open database connections and network connections. What happens in this code here? We have declared here int star kp and we have allocated a block of 1000 bytes to this pointer kp. Again, we have allocated another 1000 bytes to this pointer kb, and yet again we have allocated 1000 bytes to the pointer kb. Now at the end of this code, 2000 bytes of memory becomes unavailable to the rest of the program, causing what is known as a memory leak. Memory allocated but unusable because we have lost the pointer to that memory. Another big problem with procedural languages is the insufficient support for abstraction. Let us take a case of an abstract data type. An abstract data type has two parts. One is the definition of the data. Second is the definition of the operations or functions which can be applied on the data. Now, in a language like C, the data can be modeled as structures, but the functions are global and not related to the structure. Now let us see what is abstraction. Abstraction focuses upon the essential characteristics of some object relative to the perspective of the viewer. This definition is from the classic book by Grady Booch, and this is a picture which accompanies that. You can see it is the same cat, but from the viewpoint of the owner, the old lady on the left, she sees it as a cute little fur ball which eats some food and makes cute little sounds. But from the viewpoint of the veterinary surgeon on the right, the cat has got parts like kidneys, intestines, bladder, liver, etc. So the two people have different abstract models of the same cat. Let's come back to the problem of ADTs and modeling them. Suppose we have a structure stack here, which has an int top and a char star store. This is the array. Then we have two functions, push and pop. In the same program, we also have a queue which has a structure with a front and a rear and a store. It has functions insert and delete. Now, in a typical C program, all functions are global. The push, the pop, the insert and the delete functions are all global. That means the program has no way of knowing that push and pop belong to the struct stack and that insert and delete belong to the struct queue. Or in other words, insert and delete are not applicable to stacks, push and pop are not applicable to queue. The compiler has no method. Let's take another example of a structure horse, which has a weight, a color and an age as its members. And we have a structure eagle, which has a weight and a wingspan. The eagle flies and hunts. The horse can gallop and canter. Now, all functions are global. That means the C compiler has no method of knowing that horses cannot fly and that eagles cannot gallop. So if there is any illegal call, it has to be handled at runtime and it could lead to some errors. Let us see how we can get better abstraction using an object-oriented language. Here we see a stack where the pop and the push functions have been pushed into the class, and similarly the insert and the delete functions of the queue are pushed into the envelope of the class queue. Now, with this information, the compiler knows that these two functions belong explicitly to stack and that the insert and the delete function belong explicitly to the queue ADT. Now, if I try to use the insert on a stack or a push on a queue, the compiler can give an error. So we say that a class is the definition of the state and the behavior. The state is defined by the data members, the top and the char star store for stack, the front and the rear and the store for a queue. The behavior or the set of operations which are valid for that given class are defined by the operations or the functions, the push and the pop for the stack, the insert and the delete for the queue. In the same way, we can now see that for the horse and the class, the functions of the horse, gallop and canter, have been encapsulated inside the class, and the functions fly and hunt have been encapsulated into the class eagle. Now the compiler can catch an error of a flying horse or a galloping eagle very easily. Once again, class equal to state plus behavior. The state is defined by the data members or the fields of the class, by the age and the weight and the wingspan of the eagle. The behavior of the horse is defined by the two functions gallop, canter. The behavior of the eagle is defined by the two functions fly and hunt. Looking further on the class equal to state plus behavior equation, the state is often referred to as data members. If we are talking about C++ programs, in other languages like Java, they're known as fields, visual